I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Lord, be with us today as we deliberate this business of the county. Help us, Lord, to keep in mind the wishes and the best interests of all of our residents, Lord, and help us, Lord, to also keep in mind your guidance to us and our ability to just do good things, Lord. I ask all these things, Lord, in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Steve.
All right.
Have you had a chance to look at the minutes from September 5th, 2023?
Yes, I'll make a motion to accept the minutes.
Second.
All right, motion carries. Thank you. Good job, Tim.
Do they have 94 bills and 7?
That's our pen.
94 bills and 7. You said 94 twice.
Yeah.
She meant 87.
Okay.
All right. Tony, what do you have for us today?
Okay. First, let's begin with the contribution, transfer, whatever you will, into the health insurance line. And that's 2 million. We do that every year. Find it. That's just moving it into that so that we have it.
Okay.
So move.
Second.
Motion carries.
And if you remember, I had told you, I think last week, that we had not received the weekly health insurance till too late. So this week, we are going to have two different ones. And the first one is in the amount of $4,852.95. You had medical 46,215.20. Then you had adjustments of 41,362.25 for a total of 48,52.95. Let me see. Looks like it was all medical on that. And that one's in, if you want to sign that one, I didn't stamp it.
Go and see it before we're.
Motion approved.
Second.
All right.
And then the second weekly health insurance claims are in the amount of $18,498.40. And that is all medical, $18,498.40. And I'm starting to include in the minutes, so when we get audited next time, it'll be in the minutes for them to see. The auditor verified that all are legitimate claimants.
Good.
I signed it on here. I'm also putting it in the minutes, so when you guys approve these, you will know that I have verified they are claimants, which is what State Board said they wanted.
Okay.
So move. Second.
All right, motion carries.
Okay. And next I've got accounts payable. And that's in, you should have received that via email. That's 469,527.25. I know there were some things with Cambridge and what is that, K Specialty Coatings and stuff had a pretty big one. So it was highway, and I think IT had a couple of good sized things in there. But the total was 469,527.25.
K-Tech's our oil for chip seal.
Yeah.
Your pickup came from Heidi in Bluffton.
Another bigger amount in there as well.
Okay, any questions on that?
Motion approved. Second.
All right. Motion carries to approve the claims as presented.
And then we have payroll claims. The payroll claims are in the amount of $354,510.43. $354,510.43, which is pretty normal.
Motion approved.
Second.
Okay, motion carries to approve payroll.
We have Payroll time card approval. These are the ones that are outside the scope that state board wanted you all to personally see the time cards and so forth and so on. So that is what this is, the payroll time card approval.
All right, any questions on payroll time cards?
Motion approved.
And I think you should have received those as well.
We did. I appreciate you sending those. I'm glad they're forcing us to look at those. I'm perfectly fine with that.
Okay, and then the last thing that I have would be the clerk's monthly report, which I scanned and sent to you all. Although I do have an extra copy here if you would like to look through that if you did not receive what I sent you. But I just scanned it anymore instead of making copies of all these pages.
I received that. Motion approved.
Second.
Does that need signed?
Okay. All right.
And
motion
the
carried.
treasurer's
Approve the
report, he'll have when
Clerk's
he
report into record.
does his. That's all that I have.
Yeah. All right, Brad and Paul? Do you have anything? Dumb question?
What's that?
I asked if you had anything for us.
You know, we always have
Well,
something.
if you
for
bring
you.
Paul
And
along,
if
you know
not,
you're in it.
we'll make it up, just so we can come talk to you.
Okay.
So the first thing today, I do have one permit, and it is it's called United Telephone doing business as Brightspeed. I've heard of United Telephone for quite a while, but anyhow. So it's for the new Adams County Hospital on 950 South between Winchester Road, 150 West, and the new building. They're going to be placing a new fiber optic.
Nice.
Went out and looked at it, and I mean, there again, you know, Brightspeed, we've dealt pretty good with them, so don't see an issue.
So where are they coming from? Winchester?
150 West. Yeah, they must have a main line over there they're gonna tie into and run it all the way down there.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Motion approved.
Second.
All right, motion carries.
So real quick, I'll give you just a couple updates while you guys are signing that way you can, Paul and the guys finished fog seal yesterday. So the main roads we were gonna have striped that we opened up a while ago are ready to be striped. And we had asked them to wait till after September 25th, make sure we had time to get them done. So yeah, they will be coming in sometime after the 25th if anybody asks you about the black roads. And then finally today we had a little bit of rain, so Paul sent the guys out to grading Stone Road today, see how that goes. They've actually done really well through the summer. The Stone Roads have held up well this summer. I think it's the extra grading we did early on that really helped, so.
How did 400 west south of 124 hold up? I know you really did a lot of deep cutting on that. I think.
It actually is probably the best it's been in a long time.
Really? Good,
Yeah, I'm pretty pleased with the way that turned out, so.
good.
So the next thing we're in here for, you know, I told you last week, yeah, the new pickup was in. We're gonna pick that up Thursday. The new tandem axle chassis is in. And so now we're ready to go with the next step on that.
Yeah, so I'm here to ask for permission to go ahead and send out the spec sheets to bid out the equipment that goes on that tandem chassis body. If we'd be allowed to do that, then we would open the bid packets on the 10th, October 10th, to see where we're at with there. So I would really like to use Sourcewell as part of our bidding process. I think that'll give us a little better price. So if that's all right with you guys, I would like to.
So those specs weren't bid when you did the original?
No,
Chassis.
not when we did the chassis,
Right.
no, because, did you guys all get that email I sent to you with all those things about how everybody's using Sourcewell now. Everybody's having problems getting trucks. What a big issue, you know, and then I think can't remember if I sent you guys the last one, some guy went to a national conference. Even at a national conference, that's what people are talking about. They just can't get trucks.
So this last round that we went with chassis,
Yeah.
we were buying the chassis separate because a lot of places, even when we got our last one built, people had all their equipment there and no chassis, no idea when the chassis is gonna show. That's when we made the decision with you
Ask
guys
for
to
your
sell,
permission.
to buy the chassis, and then when we get them on hand, then bid them out. Because then when they're ready for them with the equipment, we can say, we'll bring them up tomorrow, you can start on them.
Just generally, what equipment are you talking about?
Well, it gets a dump bed, belly blade, it gets a salt sand spreader on the back. We've been replacing some of our front plows with these newer trucks because some of our front plows are 1968 older. So we've been buying front plows. That's the basic equipment on them.
And all the warning lights come with that
Yeah.
in
Right.
too. And
That's good.
Do you have any luck getting rid of the V plows?
We've actually been short a couple V plows, so we've been trying to patch the old ones together as spares on our.
So you're
back of
still
the truck.
using those?
Yeah, we're still using them.
Okay, I didn't even.
But the
think-
60, if you went and looked at our 1968 plows, that's back when they made stuff. You
Oh,
know, they're starting to show their age, but they're not as bad as a lot of
you
newer
got some
stuff.
iron in there?
There's some iron in there. They're made by a company that doesn't even exist anymore, so, yeah, that's the good stuff.
so yeah, basically we're asking your permission.
So, yeah, if I'd,
Motion approved.
Second.
okay.
Thank you.
Good,
And then to
motion
go
carries.
along with that too, if you remember, we're trying to get ahead of the ball game and we'd asked about permission to go ahead and get a chassis when the spots came open. Now granted, this is all tentative. Our dealer told us that they think maybe November they'll have a spot. So just as a heads up for you guys, you know, when that spot, we'd like to get penciled in.
Okay.
So,
Good deal.
yeah, hopefully. Hopefully, but, yeah, I don't know if you guys saw, not to ramble on, but some of those people that ordered them, factories actually canceled their orders, so.
They've been
It's
in order
unbelievable.
for 3 or 4 years. Haven't seen a chassis yet.
That's
I
crazy.
feel pretty fortunate that we actually have one that just got built and one in our possession, so
So anyhow, thank you.
thank you very
Yeah.
much.
That's all I got, so,
Good work, guys.
thank you.
Okay. Let's see, Rick's not here. Ed, you want to come up?
Good morning.
Good morning.
It's monthly report time. Tony got you all copies of it. I have it here in front of me in case you have any questions, but everything balances and I'm here to answer any questions you may have. Lots of numbers. So will that affect
You very much, or Tony, will that affect you by the change that this surveyor made in the general drain improvement? As
It will
far
not.
as tracking that,
It's fairly simple. I want to get with Tony, Brianna, and Kathy, us four with Mike, and just go over it to set it up properly. But my first thoughts here is setting it up exactly like we do with Golden Meadows, with a separate sub-account so that we can keep track of the interest very easily.
okay,
And it'll be shown on here just like the Golden Meadows money is.
Okay.
It would be a simple thing to do, and I'm glad that it all went through today with the council so that I can utilize that money that he's earning and use it for what it's meant to be used for.
very good. Any other questions for Ed on his report?
Motion to accept that report into the record.
So move.
I did want to let you know, after the RFP that we did last week, I've had 2 other banks raise their interest rates. I share with all the banks, everybody's interest rates that they're paying, and people just want to keep up with everybody. Jones keeping up with the Joneses. And it all worked out well, and a couple of the banks substantially have raised. So We will have our primary bank that will start up October 1st, and a couple of the other banks have already raised their rates, and we're getting those card rates down. Then the tax sale coming up. We have the official publication that has been taken care of. There's a new state code. We used to have to publish those 3 times. Now we only have to publish them in the papers 1 time, as long as we have a full-time presence on our website, which we do now. And that's listed in a couple different spots on our website, one on the auditor's page and one under the GI.
That'll save a little bit of money then
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
So, but we had a proofreading and all that stuff. We go back and forth.
yeah.
And then that's all done, and that's all published as we speak. We're at 27 parcels. That'll get whittled down to a dozen or so, especially once it's in the paper. Sure. You see
Yeah.
what Nancy's place over there, they got it for tax sale, so they come in and pay for it real quick.
Yeah,
Anyway, that's all I have unless you have any questions.
well, that's probably a lot of it on people's part is oversight,
Well,
sometimes, maybe.
yeah, everyone's a little bit different of a situation. Some of it's estate stuff and, you know, some of it's the granddaughter ended up getting the property and she don't understand that you have to pay taxes now. And welcome to the adult world and stuff like that.
Yeah,
They'll figure it out,
yeah.
but this kind of forces the issues. That's exactly why all these codes are in there.
All right,
Okay.
thank you, Ed.
Thanks, Andrew.
Ian is not here yet on that, so you can either go to Shannon or Clayton, I guess.
Yeah,
I have one thing on, when Clayton's time comes up, we'll have one thing for you guys.
yeah, Shannon and Clayton can fight it out if one of you two would like to
One
go.
thing,
You can go? All right.
but it's under your time.
Okay, so as you guys know, maybe a month ago now, we signed a business service agreement with USI to be our insurance broker for health and then ancillary benefits for 2024. So just as an update on that relationship, we have met with our broker named Jody a couple times, 3 times between Tony, Bree, and I feel like it's going very well. We've had all of our questions, comments, concerns addressed. We've done a strategic meeting about where we would like to envision the county going moving forward. We've talked about a lot of the concerns that I've had for the last couple of years about our health insurance plan. So just to keep you in the loop.
So far, it sounds like a good move to,
Absolutely.
okay,
Yeah, absolutely.
right. Good.
Jody is not shy. She's right on the ball. I mean, she took my list of questions from the first meeting and brought me answers for 80% of it. And not only answers, but also solutions. It's about a response, but it's about a solution for, you know, what the concern is. So I'm hopeful that this is going to be beneficial to, you know, both the employees and the county in the long run.
Are
good.
you beginning to plan and point toward a planning meeting with us toward the end of the year, or what's that?
Yes. Yeah, so normally like October times, we
Yeah.
would come together with you guys and we would talk about some of the things that, that we're looking for and what we're going to do. I have told Jody that from my personal opinion, I don't think that we should be looking to make significant changes in 24. I want to get a year under our belt with her and USI, and then we can start earlier in the year, next year, if we want to start talking about other, you know, changes and things like that, so.
Okay.
Okay. And then in line with benefits as well, so we have had a meeting with Jody as well to talk about ancillary benefits, which is our dental, vision, and life insurance. So what the normal process is for ancillary benefits is that she will bring us quotes from different vendors to offer us service for our dental, vision, and life insurance. So after conversations and things like that, we feel, Tony, Bree, and I feel like we should continue coverage with Delta Dental, who's our current provider. They are not proposing a rate increase in 24. We have rates locked in until 25. And then we currently have vision with IMED. I have always been of the opinion that IMED is the limited network provider and limited benefits on their plan. So I asked Jody to do some research into other options. So it turns out Delta Dental also offers a vision insurance plan. And they use what's called the VSP network, which is just a specific vision network that can be sold to different insurance companies for our use. So that network offers greater access for providers, for employees. It includes Walmart, Indicator, and then there's some more that are included outside of Decatur as well. And then the benefit is actually increased too on what we actually get for that cost. And the cost for 50% of our staff would go down by a couple pennies a paycheck. So we're not looking at a substantial increase across the board, where it turns out that most of our staff their premium would actually reduce if we went to Delta.
Can you tell if we would be losing access to any providers that are used by quite a few of our employees or?
Yes, we did a disruption report,
Okay.
Which just shows what the current access is versus what the new access would be. And the only difference was that we would actually have increased access.
Okay, so we would lose access to anybody
Nobody
that
would
we're
lose
currently
anything.
using.
Yep.
Good.
So for this, almost the same cost for 50% of the staff, we would see greater benefits and greater network access. And then for the other 50% of the staff who are enrolled, their cost is going to go up a little bit. I think the most was like $1 and change pay period wise or monthly wise, I think it was. So,
Good.
And then for life insurance, our recommendation is to continue coverage with Lincoln Financial. There is an increase in that cost for life insurance and LTD. So life insurance is the group term life that the county pays 100% of. And then LTD is the one where the employee pays partial premium, and then the county picks up the rest of the premium. So between those two lines of coverage, the total increase for 2024 is 11.6%, which is a total of about $4,500. So there is an increase on those. The alternatives were cheaper, but we felt like after talking to Jody that the service would be significantly less. And then there were some specifics about the benefits.
So when you're talking about an over 11% increase, that's on life only.
That's on life and LTD,
Long-term disability.
long-term
Yeah,
disability.
okay,
That's for
right.
both lines of coverage is 11.6% between the two of them,
Gotcha.
for a total premium increase of $4,500. So we would go from, I don't know what the exact number is now, but we would go from 30,000 to 30,000 to 34,500.
Okay.
And are you coming to us for approval of that, or are you just coming to us for, is this just for information?
Yes, I need you guys to approve all three of these carriers for 2024.
Okay.
So,
I have some concerns about the life insurance. I really was unaware that we were providing and paying for life insurance for all of our employees.
okay,
I'm not sure I'm on board with that.
okay.
I guess I would push back to you and ask if that's a common benefit that you see, that fully paid life insurance at the employer level.
From my experience, yes, absolutely. And
Because that's not the experience that I have.
And I can do some research into other county entities in the area and see what their thoughts are on that, and if they pay for something and what the value is and how much it costs them and all that fun stuff, and then I can bring it back if you want me to.
My minimum recommendation would be that whatever the increase is, we pass that along to the employees and they begin to pay at least part of that life insurance cost.
Okay.
At least the increase, so that our cost doesn't grow on that.
Right.
My thinking along that would be, if I get it for free, I'm going to take it, but if I have to pay something for it, I may opt out of it.
Right.
So would you be able to opt out of one or the other, life or LTD?
LTD is optional right now, so the employee has the decision in their new hire period or at open enrollment to sign up for that. So the cost to them per month is $7.20, but it's based on, our cost is based on somebody's salary and their role. So I cost less than a sheriff's deputy, basically, because of my job. Whereas Sheriff Dan costs more than me because of his salary compared to mine. So it just kind of depends on those two things. So the employee does split the cost of LTD right now. And it's, I think I outlined it, but I think we roughly pay, maybe I did the math separately, we roughly pay around $12,000 per year for all LTD coverage, and the employees contribute about 17 annually for a total cost of 30 annually for just LTD.
Do you have that cost just for the insurance?
Just for life, I do not, but I can grab it real quick.
I guess what I'd like to know before I could give you a decision is I'd like to know what we pay for that
Okay.
and what the increase would be per employee. And then back to Stan's question, if it would be possible then to have, or reasonably possible, I know it's possible, but reasonably possible to have an opt-in, opt-out for the employee and then have that amount, that contributing amount be whatever the increase is that we're paying.
So I will find out about those things on the life and LTD piece. And renewal is relatively straightforward when you're not changing carriers. So I have some time on the Lincoln part because we're already with Lincoln. But if you guys don't have any other questions or need any more information about Delta and Vision, I would like to try to take action on those today.
I would be fine with Delta and Vision. That sounds like
You guys are okay with using?
I'll make a motion to stay with Delta Dental for our dental and move to Delta Vision. Am I saying that right? For our vision coverage for 2024.
Second.
okay.
And then did I press something?
Yep.
So just one other thing that has come up in the last, in the last couple weeks. I got approval from you guys a couple weeks ago for a position to recruit for an education coordinator at Community Corrections. And in reviewing that job description, I realized that the FLSA status on the job description was listed as exempt, and it's not an exempt position, and I would not advocate for it to be an exempt position. So the only thing that I've changed on here is to make it non-exempt, because that's how the position is currently acting. So I just need your official approval, please, if you're okay with that, to change this and get it on record.
Yeah, I'd be fine with that change. So I'd take a motion to that effect to approve.
So
that.
moved. Second.
And then, as we talked about in the council meeting, you guys prepared a retention bonus package for the employees out at Golden Meadows for a total of, I think it was $67,600 for all of those staff. Did you have any other thoughts, comments, concerns, questions?
And we approved that previously, right?
I don't believe you approved it officially.
Make motion for
Second.
Okay, motion carries.
And then the last thing that I have,
Yeah, we'll probably have to sign it. Are you gonna present that to them then, or, I know we've had 2 meetings with the employees already. Do you need us to come out and present it also, or do you wanna just go ahead and
I'll
present
take care of that if that's okay with you. I'm gonna write a letter individually to each person and meet with them individually versus doing it in a group setting because the amounts vary.
Sure.
And I'm trying to work on that while I'm sitting back there, so if I need you to sign it, I'll let you know. But I will need you to sign one, the same thing that council signed with the amounts on it, just to know that you guys approved it too. So I'll get that to you before we're finished today. And then the last thing that I have is I have an employee who is on FMLA right now. And we have a policy that every 5 years, we will pay an employee 80 hours for 1 biweekly paycheck when they're on and they're completely out of leave. And so she is going to be out of leave in the next couple of weeks. So I was just looking for permission to go ahead and pay her that when the time comes and when it's appropriate.
So is it a medical leave? or-
Yes.
So,
Explain that again.
So we have a policy that states that every 5 years when an employee is.
What do you mean every 5 years?
no more.
They can do it once
No
every
more
5
often.
years.
Once every 5
No
years.
more
Okay,
often.
once every 5 years.
Yeah, and that doesn't mean they do it every 5 years.
Okay.
Just if it comes up, then we have that option.
It's not like the year of Jubilee.
But when somebody is out of benefit leave, so PTO, sick, comp, bank holiday, whatever the case may be, and they're on either a leave of absence or FMLA, depending on their situation, then they are eligible to be paid 80 hours as a one-time payment as a salary continuation. And so this person is almost out of leave. She'll be out in a couple weeks. So I was seeking approval to go ahead and pay her that And then we'll figure out, she will be unpaid for the rest of her time.
Motion approved.
Second.
Very good.
That's all I have.
Okay. Thanks for your work on that. Okay. Ian, did you want to come up?
Sure.
Do I have to? How are you?
Good.
Good.
Thank you.
All right. Talking with Bree and Tony last week, we decided it's probably time for me to come up here and talk to you about the opioid settlement funds that the county has received. If you remember, the Attorney General, Stan, I know you know a lot about this, so if I misspeak, correct me if I am wrong, but the Attorney General, we settled with Purdue Pharma for the state of Indiana for money as a result of the opioid epidemic. And the state has decided that Adams County will receive a certain amount of money each year to help offset the cost to the citizens of the county for that whole ordeal. And so we got money last year. That county has not done anything with that money yet. And in addition to that, we now have received our 2023 installment. And if you remember correctly, we will continue to receive an annual settlement amount up through 2037. And it varies from year to year. I'm talking with Bree. I can tell you that as of this moment, the county has received $142,957.73 in abatement funds, which have restrictions as to what they can be used for, and it's a long list. And then we've also received $58,734.92 in unrestricted funds. Unrestricted is unrestricted. That total is $201,692.65 that the county has received so far from the opioid settlement.
Now, let me ask you real quick there, and I know we've had some discussion, just to clear up, the cities and towns also have received settlement monies.
Correct.
Is that in with this?
That does not include this money. They received theirs directly. In fact,
So-
I think there was a little bit of a mix-up. Tony, correct me on this too,
Okay.
but I think the city's got a little bit of our money this time. And it's
Accidentally
it's
sent out
hundreds,
to
it's
them.
only in hundreds of dollars. It's not very much. And I know that Bree is working with the treasurers of these cities to have them
We've gotten two.
write the check back to us, but
We've
it's
gotten two.
really
We still need two more, and the ones we still need are Decatur and Bern.
Decatur and Bree have not paid us.
So this money that you're showing here is the county money to make a decision on?
Correct. And if you remember, a while back, the commissioners asked the JRAP committee to form a subcommittee for opioid settlement steering committee. And we've met and discussed different options. And we've come up with a proposal to you that we would use a grant for organizations in Adams County to apply for this money. And then the steering committee would review these grants and make recommendations to you, similar to what we do for Drug Free Adams County. In fact, I took Megan's grant from Drug Free Adams County and made it much similar to what we're looking to do. And what we identified for this initial phase, if you decide to go through that with this, and this can change as needs change, that we would be looking at, here, I'm going to read the problem statements and the goals. There's a strong need for community housing in recovery housing in Adams County for both men and women. Goal number 1 is to increase the availability of recovery housing beds in Adams County for men. And goal number 2, increase the availability of recovery housing beds for women in Adams County as well. And again, that could be organizations that are looking to open recovery homes or and expand if there were such already in existence. The next problem statement was that there is a high need for more recovery support group meetings in Adams County. So the goal for that is to increase the frequency of recovery support group meetings in Adams County so that there's at least one meeting available each day of the week. The second goal is to develop a system so that residents of Adams County would know when and where recovery support groups and meetings are being held. We want there to be an option for you to go to a meeting every day if you need to. Maybe you don't need to, maybe you do. But we also want to know, we also want to see that somebody comes to me and says, how do I know where a meeting is? Honestly, I don't know. I'd have to do a lot of digging, and that probably could be improved. So maybe someone could develop a website or something, attach it to a website that already exists. And that way, people in this community that decide today's the day I want to go to a meeting, they can find out exactly when it is. The last statement in this application is that there's a great need for certified recovery coaches in Adams County. And what a recovery coach is somebody who's in recovery, who speaks the language, knows the struggles, knows the things that those who want to recover are dealing with. And so there are recovery coaches. Jay County has an organization in Jay County called the Jay County Drug Coalition that does recovery coaching that we've worked in the past, but we don't have anything going on like that in Adams County. So to have someone that I could say, hey, you're struggling with this, I'm going to give you the name of somebody you can call. They're a recovery coach. They can relate to you. They don't have a badge. They don't work in the correctional field. They're here to help. So we want to see an expansion of those types of options in Adams County as well. So those are the three problem statements that we've come up with, and the goals that we'd like to see this money right now go towards helping those problems. What you guys have to decide, and it's up to you, is how much of this money do you want to put out there? And are you ready to move forward with opening the grant process up? My recommendation would be that we move forward. We open the grant opportunities up for 30 days. After 30 days, we review the grant opportunities with the steering committee. We come back to you and look at November-ish time to disperse this money. And then this will become an annual thing. Once the auditor receives the money, then we'll set up a plan each year moving forward through 2037 as we continue. Now, the amount of money is different from year to year. And so what's available will change as well.
I think too, sometimes it gets muddy when people think of the community mental health centers. This is separate from that. That's a separate tax levy, a separate monies that goes for Park Center or now Parkview. And this is different from that. And the other thing is, this is not intended to construct or buy a facility. This is intended for a program and a program manager to operate. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'd have to review the specific abatement requirements.
But I mean the way it's presented here today.
Right.
Yeah. So if we have someone that wants to operate a facility, they could apply for this money to help operate their facility to the intended goals
Sure, absolutely.
of this money. Yeah.
And if a community mental health center wanted to start a recovery coach program, they could apply for this money, or any other organization for that matter, to start a program like that, using this money as the seed money to start that as well. So it's not, it's open to any organization that's willing to address the problems that we have in our community with the opioid.
Now, let me ask you this. As far as making decisions on awarding this grant, are you looking at presenting it to the opioid steering committee to make a recommendation to the commissioners? Because it's going to be up to the commissioners, is that correct?
Yes, that would be our
award-
intentions.
Award this money.
The grants, I would recommend that those who are seeking a grant would come to us, would come to me. I would provide them with the grant application. They would then return that to me. And then I would provide the applications to the steering committee to review and meet and recommend for funding to you. And ultimately, you make the final decision as to whether you go with our recommendations or not.
So would this come after we've gone through this process and this grant cycle? Would this also come to council for appropriation once the grant is to be awarded?
Well, most grants you have to have grant paperwork that goes to both bodies to be signed. So I'm sure they'd have to be included in some sort of that process when it comes to the funding of any, but it shouldn't be a difficult process. If it's-
Right, I think Wells County's already dispersed money, so you might be able to reach out to the county attorney in Wells and see exactly how they handled it. Every county's doing it differently. I think this is fair. I think it's a great way to go.
I love the plan. Because I'm not in the system, I don't understand, the timing. Would the timing be enough for entities to, now, next year, they've had plenty of advance warning. Do you think there's enough folks that are kind of in tune with where you're going with this and what the recommendation is going to be? They're waiting on the paperwork and they're going to have that application to you in 30 days and.
I don't know. I guess what I would say is that if we don't, let's say we don't have enough requests for all of the money, we carry it over to next year.
Okay.
And the goals will be different next year.
And that would be my next question. You said we had 200 and, total of 200 and 201, 692, 65.
Right.
Is that 2022 money or is that a combination of 22 and 23 money or?
It is both. So, and a large portion of it, if you remember, that first installment in 2022 was your big one. You received $49,552.26 in unrestricted and $115,621.95 in abatement. And so, for 2023 and moving forward, you're looking at somewhere between 20 and 30,000 annually
Okay.
estimated.
So this is a really big number
It's
compared to
big
what we're going to
at
see
the
annually.
first. And you guys can decide, do you want to spread that first installment out over the next however many years?
There's not a requirement that this be expended in a certain period of time.
It isn't, although they're starting to get requirements of reporting what we're doing with it.
I was gonna say, that's my next question. Who is gonna oversee the parameters of restricted versus unrestricted? Is that opioid steering committee? Is that us?
What I can tell you, Stan, is that the statements and the goals that are in this application are all fall under the restricted, the abatement category.
So ideally, we would be able to identify enough need for both the restricted and the unrestricted funds within that restricted
Yeah,
construct, whatever
Right.
that is.
right.
Yeah, I agree
And
with
I
that.
don't know if you remember, but the possibilities is quite,
Yeah.
vague and.
But when I listen to the three that you just talked about, I'm thinking, wow, what a great set of objectives there and goals
Right.
for utilization of these funds.
Well,
yeah.
so till they fill out their application, that will already allow us to define that they are within the parameters
Right.
of the restricted funds.
Correct.
Gotcha.
And I think you could say up to this amount of money is going to be awarded. Doesn't mean that it has to be.
Do you have a suggestion on that number for us?
Depends on how long you want to keep that last year's money in that. I really don't know until we see the first round of the applications, see how much of a need there's going to be. But I think those who are applying for this need to know that this isn't forever money.
Yeah.
That don't think that coming into this, you're going to receive money in 2023, and that means 2024, you're going to receive it again. We may see that there's a need to start focusing on children, because as you heard, I didn't mention anything about children in these goals. And that's definitely something that, talking with the superintendents, I think they feel like there is a need for some kind of education program for kids in the future. And so, maybe we change our direction next year and focus on kids a little bit more than we did. But we can, and we have the ability and the flexibility to do that from a year-to-year basis. So going back to your question, I really don't know how much to tell you to put into it. We can see what we get as requests, and a lot of times, even when we reviewed Drug-Free Adams County grant requests this year, what somebody asked for doesn't necessarily mean that's what they're going to get. And so,
Well, and then we'd have to ask how it would be dispersed, whether it would be just, here's what you asked for, here's what you get, boom, here's your check, or is it dispersed based on a reimbursement
Well, I think at minimum, they should be
Policy.
required to report back to you a couple times a year as a progress report as to how they're doing and, how they're utilizing this money and what good is coming from it. Don't just hand out a check. and
Without
say,
having to
"Thanks,
bring in
it's
a whole stack of receipts.
It
Yeah,
depends on what they're asking for.
Yeah.
Somebody asks to purchase curriculum for a certain thing, then I think you should, so that you know that they don't go out and spend it on something else. But if they're asking for like, staff salaries or, that's going to be a part of the budget that's submitted. What do you think from the auditor's standpoint as far as disbursement goes? I mean,
Well, it will all have to come through our office, and when we get a claim, invoice, whatever, it's gonna be on us to say
right?
whether it's part of what's allowed or isn't. And
I was told that Wells County had someone who found that exercise, and this is true, exercise is a good thing for those who are suffering with addiction, and they submitted a request to purchase running shoes with this money so that they could buy running shoes and Wells County did it. So again, I mean, I don't know what Wells County did as far as proof, if they had to buy Nikes or Adidas or what, but I think there's a lot of good uses for this, and maybe running shoes is one of them too. I don't know. I wouldn't have thought so, but hey.
Do you feel like you need a number from us today, or are you just looking for us to approve the concept and the form, or do you want a number from us today?
Megan, what do you think? You're you've been through this as far as drug-free goes.
I would say it's probably beneficial to have a number, just so when we go to the steering committee, we know kind of what we're looking at.
And is this an amount just for you to be able to begin the grant process?
Yes.
So if I pulled a number of $100,000 out of the air and just said, what about
You can say, we'll
$100,000?
go with it.
I also think, to answer your question prior, Steve, we can advertise this, push this out through our drug-free Adams County email, so all the agencies who are involved in this line of work will be well aware that this is going on.
And for example, if we set that number, if we have 3 agencies ask for $100,000, we might decide, okay, this agency gets it all, or we might say, you get 33, you get 33, you get.
I guess I see a number being a good thing, because if you throw out there that we've got $200,000 available, it's like you're going to have people thinking they're going to get $200,000. But I also see your need to warn them that even at $100,000, that's not going to be an annual, that's a number that far exceeds the annual expectation of what we're going to be able to do.
Right. And by not spending the full 200 the first year, that gives us the opportunity next year to offer more than just 25 or whatever we get to.
And I think that's a great idea, especially what we're seeing now, how trends are moving. It's really impacting our kids. It wasn't as much when we were first designing this. And so maybe we're going to need to roll over a little money to hit the schools hard next year. So I think not doing the whole.
Well, like
might be great.
in one of our meetings, one of the superintendents made the comment that they were seeing drug abuse as early as 6th grade.
Yeah, and Kim Hyatt's not here, obviously, but in speaking with her recently, we need to look at in the future a program for elementary aged kids. We used to have DARE. I participated in DARE when I was a kid, and some expert, probably somebody off the record, the federal government who didn't want to disperse money anymore to somebody thought that it was ineffective and DARE was not a good program and it didn't change anything. Well, I'd like to see the statistics and study of that, because I still remember the impact and not only that, but just the positives of getting to know a law enforcement officer teaching a program to kids. And so maybe the local police chiefs will want to create something, maybe not call it DARE because it's not effective, but maybe that's something we do in the future. But for this year, this term, we're looking more towards recovery services.
Ian, I would say just yourself, Megan, whoever, just continue to come over and as we proceed through this so that we can discuss how does this look, what do we need, all that stuff. But we know today you need the approval from these guys and a number if they want to give it to you to begin the grant process and so forth. So that'll start the ball rolling.
We're starting something that's going to roll through 2038. I don't know who all of us are going to be here in 2038 doing this, but we're starting it now and setting the ground for the future. And no matter what, it's good for our community. And there might be more money from what I've heard, is that there are more settlements taking place. And so, we may have to make other decisions down the road and such, but never before have we done this. And it's pretty neat, pretty cool.
I don't know that we need to set a number as much as we need to approve the program.
I guess I'm here, they're asking us to set a number.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at the,
If this goes to 38, do we want to set half of the money today being due? Don't we maybe want to go 50, 75 and hang on to it and see what comes down the road?
hey, throw a number out there, Steve, and I'll support it. Let's get it done.
Do we need a motion to accept the program first?
Sounds like it.
I make the motion, we accept the program and we allow 75,000 the first year.
Second.
Does that sound reasonable?
Does that sound
Okay.
reasonable?
It's easy enough.
All right, motion
Up
carries.
to 75.
Starts the ball rolling.
Okay. We'll be in touch. We'll keep you posted.
Good work.
Okay.
Yes,
That's
thank you.
pretty exciting.
It is.
Yep.
Thanks. It's sad to
Oh,
take
you
my
gotta
last
do it.
one off because of old age.
You're talking to some of us about old age? You didn't hear that, Steve?
Yeah,
He's complaining about old age.
yeah, you ain't there yet, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for your work on that, because I know you put a lot of time into this, developing this program.
Yeah. What a neat group of people we got working on this.
All right, too.
All right. Mr. Attorney?
I believe Tony said he had something that I
Yeah,
need to go over on my
I
time.
was gonna bring this on his time,
Okay.
and it is what we had discussed earlier. I just need you guys to officially approve the $226,000 from ARPA for the voting equipment that the
Motion
clerk,
approved.
Kelly Bride, had come over with.
Yep.
What did you?
Motion to approve what I thought we already approved.
All that 226.
Okay, motion carries.
Did not
Meaning whether we already
Approve
approved
those
those monies.
monies.
But now we know we approved it.
Clerk
I
again.
know Commissioner Gotti was talking about that other one.
No.
Now, that's a whole different thing. There were several things today that council approved at their end as a package, but that Julie Marie said you can separate out, like if you like some but not all, because quite frankly, it takes both bodies.
I guess I would like to make, and especially for the press that's here, I would like to make it clear that just because council approved all those things that they approved today, doesn't mean those things are approved, and they still have to come to us for approval, specifically the scanning project, what was referred to as the pickleball courts at South Adams.
There were a few of them.
Yeah, there were several things there that council approved today that had not previously been approved by the commissioners that needs to come to
The other
us.
was the truck and trailer. ARPA funds for the truck and trailer out of surveyors for $160,000.
Yeah, how are you?
But then they were gonna add
handle that?
$30,000 back into
Yeah.
your guys' budget for equipment in case you need that money.
But you'll bring all that to us for approval or for discussion next week.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get with Julie Marie. I mean, I can't tell you how often Bree, myself, and Julie Marie have to get together and compare notes and figure out where we're at on all this stuff. As you could tell from the last meeting,
Steve made the comment, he'll be glad when all these ARPA funds are spent.
I
Me
made the
too.
same comment.
Me too. This is, because it feels like, and Dennis made the comment, I believe incorrectly, but it feels like we're spending free money here, and we're not.
Right.
It's taxpayer money.
It is still taxpayer
It's-
money.
it's-
Yeah.
It's taxes, but it's hard for me to get back to the regular normal business of county government when you've got these hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars out there kind of up for the asking. And then we have to debate that all the time and figure out where our priorities are. And it's a good thing, but I'll be glad when it's over.
For my purposes as auditor, I'm the one responsible to submit all of that into the portal and detailing what it was spent on, how, I mean, I also will be glad when it's done.
And I know Corey talked about his, limited government and how all that factors into his decision-making. And, I'm absolutely in agreement with that. I'm not a big government guy, but gosh, when you've got the money that somebody's going to spend, we might as well spend our share of it to the benefit of the taxpayers of Adams County we have to do that wisely. And
And I
so
think it
that's the
has-
challenge.
I think that what has been spent so far, for the most part at least, has been, when you look at the 1.5 million for the sewer district, and that's gonna help, you know, I think it's all been helpful and stuff that we would have had to have done anyway, in most cases. But that's an editorial comment.
Do we need to, take any action on anything outside of that clerk's equipment approval?
I was thinking that during the course of all of that, I asked Julie Marie if Mark or Clayton would have it for this meeting. Forget what it was. Mark isn't here and Clayton doesn't know, so I don't know what it was.
I guess since we do meet every week, if you would kind of get together with Julie Marie and just kind of clarify what was done at the council meeting this morning.
That's what we plan to do.
And,
yeah.
and then if you want to bring it back to us either next week or whenever, you know, and see what, there is an opportunity for us to take action on.
And some of this, as Mark has said over and over, when it comes to commissioners, Mark is the one that discusses the procurement process and how that needs to look and what that. So I don't know if the $500,000 scanning, I don't know.
That may
I
well
don't-
fall within procurement process requirements for sure. I mean, depending on how, it's going to be 500,000, the whole project.
Well, I guess to reference that,
I think so.
when I look at, $380,765 approved for the recorder scanning and indexing, I don't know if he went through the procurement process or not.
Well, in this case, Shelley there may only be one company that actually does it that way. And in the case of the recorder, that may be how that's done. I don't know.
We interviewed 4 companies,
So,
yeah. So I don't know whether Tom interviewed 4 companies or what his procurement process was.
If that scanning project is on the agenda for us to approve next week, might be a good idea to have Shelley here. Because I think I still have some questions
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, if she would be able to come in and talk to us a little bit
I'll let her
about
know.
that. Yeah.
Tom,
And-
did you
and
have
then-
something?
And then if we had, since Tom's here, did you go through a procurement process or a bidding process or specs, or how did you do that to make your decision?
I interviewed 2 companies.
Okay,
When I did my scanning, but remember, I paid for the scanning process. The thing that I got ARPA money for is indexing, and there was really only one company, because it's the company that did the scanning. Since they did the scanning or doing the indexing, there wasn't no other company to send all that stuff to then do the indexing.
so when you did your scanning, did you have to go through a procurement process?
Well, I bidded it out, I bid a couple out, and then I brought it in front of the commissioners for approval.
I think I remember that discussion
And
where
but it was out of my perk fund too, so.
Right, yeah.
so he did bid it out.
So there's probably different policies for federal money versus.
Well, and with it, the indexing being there was only one unique
That'd be the
provider.
sole source provider
It's,
there.
yeah,
And
sole
it could be that
source,
way
then
with just
it's-
scanning for all I know. I
But
don't
it's,
know.
Well,
it's not.
With
because
the companies that we interviewed,
I don't know.
each company had unique indexing software. So, you know, if she had already done the scanning, for example, but not the indexing, she would also be in that same boat where there would just be one company to go to.
And I'll see if she can come next week to answer those questions.
Yeah. But,
Tom, was there something that I just told Clayton that there may be something that we're forgetting because I'm not sure. Did you have something that, no?
I
Okay.
went and talked to them.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
but yeah, Tom, if you have any insight for Shelley as far as the whole procurement process.
She's called me a few times.
Okay, good. So, all right. So, yeah, I guess there's nothing really that we need to take action on as far as any further ARPA.
That can wait till next week. Probably would want to do it next week because whether you approve or don't approve something will have a bearing on the final budget that they approve in October. So,
Well, they can't change that now.
yeah, they haven't approved it yet.
Well, but they don't have any more meetings scheduled.
You're not understanding what I'm saying, Stan.
I mean,
What you guys decide on the ARPA will mean that if they have less coming out of the overall budget or more into the overall budget, that final number before they approve the final overall budget number can change.
right, but what I'm saying is that number can't change unless the whole council is seated together. Because
Yeah, that it would change that at that October meeting. That's when it would change. And it would depend on, they will see, we will send out next week after you guys go
so
through
they would
that.
change it at the next October meeting.
Right,
Gotcha.
right. But we will send out prior to that, here's what commissioners
Sure.
approved and didn't approve. So that affects the budget you're going to look at in October and vote on. That's how that affects it.
Sure.
But yeah, that won't be till October.
So, because Bree will still have to change that during the meeting.
Well, potentially, yes.
So the only two that we're going to have discussion on is the scanning and the pickleball program.
If I'm thinking there was one or two other ones on that list, but that's why I say Julie Marie and I are gonna, Julie Marie, myself and Bree will all get together prior to next Tuesday so that we can figure out exactly what they did and what you guys need to do. Because some of the stuff,
Can you send us a heads up
Yeah.
on those?
yeah, we'll get together yet this week and figure all that out because, you know, over the time of this ARPA stuff, the three of us have to get together fairly often because one body approves something, but both bodies have to, and then one body approves something, but then the other body only approves part of it. I mean, it just,
Right.
you can imagine that between the three of us, it gets a little difficult to keep up and especially the way that council was doing that today. I looked at Julie Marie and I said, well, I guess we'll be getting together again soon because like,
Oh, the
wow.
Geneva IT, I guess that wasn't even a formal request yet, but we talked about that.
they kind of tabled it because they want to find out before October. They want to find out from Mike, okay, is this really the final number? Or are we going to approve this? And then you come back later and say it's another 50,000. That's what they were saying, council.
Okay.
I assume somebody,
Parks and Rec, trucks and mowers.
yeah, trucks and mowers for Park and Rec. That was another one that they
Surveyors,
approved.
truck and trailers, but we're gonna,
You guys will still have to approve that as well.
So like take that one, for example, the Parks and Rec for trucks and mowers. If we did not approve that, would they plan on putting it into the budget, in the Parks and Rec budget? Is that one thing that would change the budget?
I'm trying to remember if that was something that was already in the budget to be purchased or if they're just trying to be proactive and help Park and Rec out because
I think that's exactly.
I think that's what it
That was
is.
the plan was they were trying to be proactive.
So I don't think
and
that's
help
actually
take some
going-
pressure off of
Yeah.
Parks and Rec's.
I don't think it's
future
going to lower
budget.
this budget,
Yeah.
but it will
So,
help them going forward.
yeah, I'm just looking to see and hear what of these projected requests, what would actually change the budget.
The current budget would be the surveyor part.
Which they've already decided on that.
That's one thing that would lower this particular one. The 500,000, frankly, I think would probably, that was not in this budget that was presented, so that would actually be the following budget. In other words, if she did not have that in her budget, so it wouldn't affect this budget.
Alrighty, well, we'll wait to see what's presented next week and
Good.
as far as what, we'll have the opportunity to take action on.
Between myself and Mark, Clayton, Clayton might have an opportunity yet this week to get with Julie Marie, and at the next commissioners meeting, between Clayton, Mark, and myself, we'll have everything figured out as to where we're at.
Very good, thank you. Alright, anything else, Clayton?
Nope.
Nope, nothing else. Alright. And Rick is still not here. So I don't know if he has anything else on building maintenance. Hopefully with the rain last night, we didn't have any leaks in the building, so. All right. Anything else from the general public? Okay. Take a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
Okay.